Hey, welcome to this episode of Small Biz Mama. My name is Kristen Ingram. I am a small biz mama. I own two businesses, and I am the founder of Bookkeeper Training School. And I do this podcast to reflect on parenting, life, and business, and how we create a life that just helps us thrive and grow and be happy, because you know what, life is short. I'm a cancer survivor, and I know how short life can be. And so I just want to make sure that I make the most of it while running my business and doing all of the fun things with my family. So I hope you'll come along with me on this journey. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what do we do when we already have too many toys and the holidays are coming. I want to talk to you a little bit about some alternatives and how you can talk to your family about, I think it's really a sensitive conversation to have with family. And so I hope you'll come along. I would love your feedback. So I would love to know your ideas. If you go to smallbizmama.com, I want to know how you're having those conversations with your family, what your suggestions are. And so just go to smallbizmama.com, click on podcast for episode 78. All right. I think a lot of us think that our kids have too many toys. And so I want to give you kind of some strategies, some things that we do to kind of help it just from getting crazy. So one thing that we do is we have, and we're not perfect at this by any means, but we try to have a place for all the toys, whether that's a basket or a bin, something to kind of corral everything in. So like we have these shelves from IKEA that you can like slide bins into. And we put like all the Legos and the blocks and things like that in there. We have containers for things like Play-Doh and like cars, just to kind of keep everything containerized. We also have a policy. My son he's not yet 4. And we try to get him that when he like wants to play with something else, we try to get him to pick up that thing just so the toys don't get everywhere. And we help them with that. We at least try to pick up a little bit at the end of every day. We also rotate toys. And so like Eric has tons of stuff, but we only have a few things out at a time, especially big things. Like we only have one big thing out at a time, and we rotate the other things. So we literally like pack things up in big Rubbermaid containers and put them out in the garage. And then every few weeks, we actually pick new things to put out for him. Now there's some things that always stay out. So Legos always stay out, cars always stay out. But we rotate out puzzles, we rotate out games, we rotate out other small toys. He's got a ton of like big trucks. And so we will rotate trucks out. So we might bring out the garbage trucks and put away the construction trucks. But that way, that does a couple things. So first of all, it keeps like the toys fresh, right? So he doesn't get bored with his toys. It also keeps it from getting like crazy. Like the thing that we found with Eric, and I think that this is kind of common for a lot of young kids, is that if they have too many options for toys, they get overstimulated. And that's where they start like throwing toys or making big piles of toys. And so we found that when we limited how many toys he had at any given time, it actually caused less of a mess, and it caused him to be more engaged in the things that were out. And so for him, we try to keep, like I said, we usually have like something that he can build with, whether it's Legos or blocks. We always have Play-Doh in we use one of those like shoebox, Rubbermaid containers, and we kind of put all of his Play-Doh stuff in there so he can just pull it out, take it to the table and play with it. car, like he has to have some cars all the time, but like he's got one of those racetracks, the Hot Wheels racetracks, like sometimes that will go out in favor of him bringing his train in. And that has just really helped manage the mess. We also rotate out his books because he has a ton of books. And so we'll put some books away and put other books out. And then we kind of use the rotation process to say, okay, you know what? We put this book out. He never wanted to read this book. It's been out for 2 weeks. Is this still a book that we're going to keep? And we kind of say, is it maybe he's not old enough for it yet? Or maybe he's gotten a little bit too old for that book. And we might decide like, okay, now it's time to take that to the free lending library. And we do the same thing with the toys too, that we kind of look, say, is this still age appropriate? Is this something that he's interested in playing with, or did it just kind of sit on the shelf for a couple weeks? And if you don't want to jump to, okay, he must be done with this, get rid of it, then what you can do is kind of put that in a separate bin and rotate it in again in 2 weeks, and see if he plays with it at that point. And if you rotate it in a couple times and your kids aren't interested in it, it might be because the toy is either too advanced or he or she has outgrown it at that point. Okay, so just some things to kind of evaluate. We also use the holidays too as a time to say, okay, if new toys are gonna, come in, maybe we should consider looking at some toys that, that it's time to give them to other kids. And when we, at least with Eric's a super empathetic kid. When we start talking about, let's bless other children, with the toys we're not using or the clothes we've outgrown, that has really helped him say, okay, let's give some things away and make room for new things. So that's really, like I said, that's really helped with him. And so I think that if you kind of have, these conversations with your kids, gauge their maturity, gauge their empathy, because some kids just aren't ready to have that discussion yet about giving things away. And so make sure that that is appropriate for your child. Okay. So now, we're getting to the stage where it's really tough for Eric because Eric and I share the same birthday. It's December 27th, which means he gets a lot of stuff in December. And then basically that's the gift giving for the rest of the year. And so, one thing that, another thing that you can do if you have that situation is, take some of the toys that, super, super interested in right now and take some of the other toys and kind of put them away. I think that is a great way to bring, freshness and excitement. And, it's not you like having to buy toys all year because, you don't have a birthday for another 11 months. And so, just because, your kids get all these toys in December does not mean that you have to dump them all in their room or dump them all in their playroom in December. Okay. So this may be an opportunity for you to kind of put some things away so that there's some fresh, cool things for them to play with later on in the year. Okay. The other thing that we do for gifts is we try to do a lot of experiences for gifts. And so we ask people for season passes to things, for tickets to events. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of do some research like, okay, what's coming up? Or what are some things that we've wanted to do but haven't done? So for example, we really want to go to Kennedy Space Center. It's something we haven't done yet, and it's like half an hour from our house. And so, that's something that we may do as like a holiday gift. We might do season passes there. There's the Orlando Science Center close to where we are, and you can do season passes for that. And if you already have season passes to things, you can ask for people to, renew your season pass or, extend your season pass for you or something like that. And so there's lots of different options that you have, maybe movie tickets, as things are starting to open up. Is there like a cool restaurant that, you want to take your kids to? So in Orlando, there's a T-Rex restaurant that Eric really wants to go to. So like you could ask for gift cards for something like that to go to a restaurant like that. Maybe your kid just likes to play at Chick-fil-A. Like seriously, like I want you to think outside the box for things that could be fun. You could do magazine subscriptions. There's lots of magazines for kids. There's National Geographic, there's Highlights. There's lots of subscription boxes now that you can get for your kids that have a really cool activity. And so I know one of the ones we're looking at for Eric really likes to cook. And I'm trying to promote that as much as I can. And America's Test Kitchen has a subscription box for little kids, like kids his age. And so you can actually just do a Google search of subscription boxes or magazines for kids. There's just lots of like really, really cool things out there that don't have to be another toy, right? Because I think a lot of us were just so inundated. Also think about things like art supplies. We love doing like little art kits seasonally. So things like that are really cool. Crafts, coloring books, like really go through, like now's a really good time to start like kind of cleaning out all the stuff. Say, okay, are there puzzles that, that we don't use anymore? Hey, maybe like some new puzzles would be great. Family board games, if you don't have, a lot of family board games. And so now again, like now's a really good time to kind of go through, take inventory of what you have. Good God, if we get any more Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels cars, we have so many. I'm pretty sure Eric has like 100 cars. It's so crazy. So like, no more cars, but maybe, like, hey, we're running low on paints, right? Or, we're running low on craft paper. So take that inventory and kind of see where you are with those kind of things. All the Play-Doh's dried out, so we could really use some new Play-Doh. Just kind of think about stuff like that, because, now is a really good time to kind of, ask for those types of things. And, I think that a lot of families are very receptive to, some direction. And so, I would encourage just in general, like to have those discussions, and maybe, I know gift giving is so expensive. And so one cool thing that I'm doing with my family this year is we did like a Secret Santa kind of thing. My family found a website, put everybody's names in it, kind of matched people up randomly, and then you're buying gift for one person instead of like 800. And so that's such a cool kind of thing you can do. You could do a Yankee swap, which is really fun. Just kind of like set some parameters. And it's okay to have these conversations. It's okay to say, you know what, grandma and grandpa, I really appreciate that, you want to do something for the kids, but we have so much stuff, and so, it would be really great. We really want to take, Eric to the Kennedy Space Center. It would be awesome, if you could help with that instead, or some other experience that you think would be really cool for him. My mom has always been great, because my mom always kind of asks, like, what does Eric need? And so that is super amazing. Because there's just all the toys and all the things. And so I think sometimes we're like afraid to have those conversations because they feel kind of yucky, like money conversations. But I think in a lot of families, having that kind of conversation, like, hey, I understand it's been a really tough year. How can we make the holidays fun without putting everybody into debt? And most families, I think, would actually be appreciative of having that conversation. So, be the courageous one, right? To say, hey, I'm going to be the one to bring this up, and I think a lot of people too, like, they don't know that these options are out there. Like, I didn't know that there was this cool Secret Santa site. And so, sometimes, like, we just don't know what the options are. And so bringing that up and being that person to do that, you might end up being the hero for the holidays. Just saying. Okay. So I'd love to know, I know I threw out a ton of information there. I would love to know what your family is doing, how you are, looking for alternatives for the holidays. What has worked for your family? What sort of gift giving techniques have worked, to help keep down the stuff and just, help everybody's budgets. So love to know what you're doing. Again, go to smallbizmama.com, look up episode 78, and I can't wait to read all of your suggestions. All right, mamas, take care of yourselves, especially during the holidays, and take care of each other.
Thank you for listening to Small Biz Mama with Kristen Ingram. If you'd like to learn how to create more margin in your life, please visit us at smallbizmama.com. That's smallbizmama.com.